right, the cracks are starting to show. Ugh. So that ceasefire that Biden is so proud of in Lebanon, apparently Israel has violated the ceasefire not once, but 100 times. Say it with me, folks, especially the people in the back. What could possibly go wrong? What could go wrong?
I want to be very clear, though, Dana, that there have been continuous violations since the ceasefire took effect early Wednesday morning. CNN spoke to a UN peacekeeping source who says that Israel has violated that ceasefire about 100 times. But there are many people on both sides of this border who are desperately hoping that this doesn't escalate further and that the ceasefire prevails, Dana. I want to be very clear, though, Dana.
Now, I want to pull up another video here, too. This is from Caitlin Johnstone, who, again, has been delivering fire remarks. I want to pull this up here. She's been speaking truth to power, and I'll keep my pausing here to a minimum. But hey, the kind of ceasefire where one side keeps firing kind of defeats the purpose of a ceasefire.
The kind of ceasefire where one side keeps firing. Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. In less than a week of its supposed ceasefire agreement, Israel has reportedly attacked targets in Lebanon around 100 times, leading to a single retaliation from Hezbollah on Monday, which resulted in 0 casualties. As you might expect, Israel is now playing victim and shrieking bloody murder, vowing a major response against Hezbollah for daring to strike back while Israel violated its ceasefire agreement dozens of times. Apparently, this was the kind of ceasefire where only one side has to actually cease firing. This is such a perfect example of everything Israel is. Scrolling through Twitter this morning, I saw an Al Jazeera clip documenting evidence that IDF drones have been playing the sounds of crying babies to lure civilians out of their hiding places so they can be shot and killed. And then I saw a photo that an IDF soldier reportedly uploaded to his own social media, depicting himself masturbating while gazing at the destruction of Gaza. I am not a religious person, so I don't really resonate with words like demonic and satanic to describe Israeli criminality. But at the same time, I kind of get it. What adjectives are there to describe things like this? Evil is a pathetic understatement. Language fails. They're not just depraved, they're creative and enthusiastic about constantly finding new and innovative ways in which to be depraved. I love words and language more than probably anyone I know, but words always fail me on this front. The quote-unquote rebel fighters in Syria are now reportedly telling Israeli media that they are grateful to Israel for bombing Syria and fighting Hezbollah, with the Times of Israel quoting an HTS fighter from Idlib as saying, "We love Israel, and we were never its enemies." So I guess take that for whatever it's worth. Imagine going back in time to 2002 and trying to explain to Americans that in a few years the US government is going to start giving weapons to Al-Qaeda in Syria, and then the world will find out about this and just kind of shrug and then completely forget that it happened. It's annoying how many people I see interrupting adult conversations with infantile prattle about whether Assad is a good guy or a bad guy. We're trying to have mature discussions about important world events. Stop babbling about good guys and bad guys like children watching a cartoon show. There's a tweet by arch neocon Bill Kristol. I hope the Biden administration is doing everything it can to help the anti-Assad fighters in Syria, the anti-Putin Democrats in Georgia, the pro-freedom forces in Iran, and of course the brave Ukrainian people. Comment from Caitlin. Never ever be on the same side as this person on any foreign policy issue. Anti-Semitism is not a significant threat in our society. It used to be, But it isn't anymore, because our society has changed. There was a time fairly recently when I would have been discriminated against for being divorced from the father of my children. This never happens to me in our present day, because we no longer have the kind of puritanical society where that sort of discrimination occurs. Some fringe religious kooks on the internet might tell me divorce is a sin, but they have no institutional support, and normal people think they're ridiculous. In exactly the same way, the archaic superstitions and prejudices which drove the persecution of Jewish people in previous generations simply do not exist in the way they once did. What you see labeled as anti Semitism today is 99% just people criticizing Israel or fighting back against the oppressive abuses of a genocidal apartheid state, with the remaining 1% being expressions of medieval prejudices against Jewish people from fringe assholes with no political power. The final word on Biden's entire political career is his decision to spend his lame duck weeks backing a genocide and pardoning his son without doing anything at all to pardon real victims of injustice or make things better for normal human beings in any way whatsoever. Apparently, Hunter Biden has been pardoned not just for the crimes he's been accused of, but any unspecified crimes he may have committed over the last 11 years, which is a bit suspicious to say the least. Whatever. I don't even care at this point. This is one of the least evil things this decrepit monster has done over the course of his presidency.
So, yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. Unfortunately, we have an administration that is touting the ceasefire as a victory. In order to truly have a ceasefire, I mean, both sides, in theory, controversial statement here, have to, cease fire. What was the unchecked aggression that took place in Gaza and also by proxy in the West Bank? I mean, it is abundantly clear that, and I hate to quote here, but Israel, with the blind eye of the other global superpowers, is getting away with it. It doesn't come as a surprise of why there really won't be a true ceasefire or peace. And even if the guns are silenced, let's just say there is a successful ceasefire. I know. It's a bridge too far. It's too much of a high thought, Kit. What's wrong with you? Well, let's say there is. It's effectively done. It's implemented. All what will be achieved afterwards is that the foundations of the next war, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road, all depending on how long a ceasefire will happen. How long will it maintain itself? Too many people have died, too many lives ruined, so many communities destroyed for forever, especially in Gaza, especially in the West Bank, and now, yes, even in Lebanon. The war is expanding further. We have, again, further political instability in Syria. And you have the ongoing, everlasting threat of Israel fighting Iran, Iran fighting Israel. And what did our administration, what did the Biden-Harris administration do? What did this administration said that love and America's soul was coming back? Nothing. They did nothing. They could have stopped this, and they did nothing. I'll pull up this article here from RT. Lebanese-based Hezbollah has struck back against alleged Israeli ceasefire violations for the first time since the fragile truce took hold last week. It was never going to last. We all knew it. The military group said on Monday, hours later, the Israeli Defense Forces announced airstrikes on dozens of missile launchers and infrastructure in Lebanon. Israel has conducted daily attacks on Lebanon starting the day after the ceasefire agreement between the Jewish state and Hezbollah came into force last Wednesday. So, oh my goodness. Just a day after, further more attacks, Hezbollah launched a preliminary defensive response to the attacks targeting an Israeli-held site in the Golan Heights. The group said in a statement cited by Beirut-based TV channel El Madin on Monday. The IDF reported that the Lebanese military group fired 2 mortar shells toward Hardov. Under international law, the site is considered Syrian territory, currently occupied by Israel. The IDF also struck dozens of launchers and terrorist infrastructure throughout Lebanon, including the launch site of the Hezbollah attack, the IDF said in a statement on Monday night. So say it with me, folks. There was never a ceasefire. The hostilities between Hezbollah and Israel escalated October 2023 when the military group began sporadically shelling Israeli territories, proclaiming solidarity with the Palestinians of Gaza. Israel announced a limited ground operation, into southern Lebanon in early October, while intensifying airstrikes against Beirut and other cities. The IDF killed several high-ranking figures in the Hezbollah leadership during the strikes, including the group's longtime leader. Under the terms of the ceasefire, the IDF must withdraw from Lebanon within 60 days, ceding control of held territory to the Lebanese army, while an international committee will be tasked with adjudicating violation complaints. There will be no complaints filed. There will be nothing done, and there will be no accountability. Unfortunately and regrettably, the fighting still continues. Now, I think we all know what to expect from a Trump administration. I mean, Democratic and Republican politicians all have AIPAC babysitters, and it's very clear that Trump has a lot of people in this administration. If they are not with AIPAC, then they are associated or taken care of by AIPAC. The war will continue on from one administration to another. But hey, that's how it's been for a very long time with Democrat and Republican presidents. Forever wars. Forever wars. Controversial statement here. What about a forever peace? I guess that's too big of a dream, but one can dream.